Far from the Middle East, Ahmed Abu Marzouk is consumed by thoughts of Gaza, where the war has taken a terrible toll on his extended family.
I've lost 29 members of my own family.
This conflict is affecting his 12-year-old daughter, Ragad.
My uncle on my dad's side passed away, and then my grandma on my mum's side passed away.
This Perth man is trying to help those who remain trapped in Gaza, like his sister-in-law and her daughters, who evacuated to Rafah at the enclave's southern edge. Simply contacting them is difficult.
The number you are calling is currently unreachable. Please try again later.
Getting them to safety has so far proved impossible.
Every time that the fighting goes south, they were asked to move to go south. So they went from, Gaza, one place, another place in Gaza, then in the middle, then to Khan Yunis, then to Rafah. I mean, where else are they going to go? There's nowhere to go to.
An assault on Rafah is likely to be the next phase of a war that has, according to Gaza health authorities, already killed an estimated 28,000 Palestinians. Israel says more than 1,400 Israeli civilians and soldiers have died since October 7. Almost 2/3 of Gaza's population, around 1.4 million people, are now sheltering in and around Rafah.
Those who say that under no circumstances should we enter Rafah are basically saying, lose the war, keep Hamas there.
The Israelis undertake the same kind of mission in Rafah that they've undertaken in Khan Yunis and in Bet Hanun and in Gaza City. There's going to be thousands and thousands of more civilian casualties, which we've termed publicly a disaster.
A ground assault on Rafah will further damage Mr. Netanyahu's strained relationship with Joe Biden. After the October 7 attacks, the US president was unwavering in his support of Israel. But after 4 months of relentless war, the US president is now openly criticising Israel's approach.
Too many of the over 27,000 Palestinians killed in this conflict have been innocent civilians and children.
Our admonitions with respect to humanitarian assistance, cutting down on civilian casualties, there's really not a lot of evidence that he's listened to us, that Bibi's listened to Biden at all on this. So what you're seeing is some real frustration bubbling over from the president and from his core advisors.
The president's colourful private descriptions of Mr. Netanyahu have been reported widely in the US and Israel.
I think that reflects a genuine frustration. But I would caution that there's a big gap between frustration with Netanyahu and actually changing policy to get tougher on Israel. I think we're still a long way away from that.
Mr. Netanyahu says Israel's aims are to defeat Hamas and rescue the hostages, around 130 of whom remain unaccounted for. It's believed many of the survivors are in Rafah. 2 hostages were rescued in a raid on the city earlier this week. The success of that mission was a boost to Benjamin Netanyahu and the hardliners in his cabinet, like Itamar Ben-Gvir, who opposes any ceasefire with Hamas.
אפשר לעשות בלתי יאומן. והוכחתם עוד דבר. אתם יודעים, בימים האלה שמדברים על עסקה, ויש כאלה שרוצים עסקה מופקרת, ואני סומך עליך ראש הממשלה, שלא תהיה עסקה מופקרת.
Seeing them here, I felt happy initially, but then I felt very, very scared because every action like this can have retaliation and revenge, or this can cause the negotiations to stop, or, So I hope that the negotiations will continue and there will not be any direct retaliation towards the other hostages.
4 members of Ifat Zaila's family were taken hostage on October 7, including Ariel and Kafir Bibas, who turned 1 in January. Hamas has claimed the children and their mother are dead, but the family says there is no proof of that. Indepth is frightened of the consequences of a Rafah assault, for the hostages and for Palestinians.
It's very dangerous for everyone. There's 2 million refugees there, Palestinian refugees that need to be taken care of. And there are a lot of hostages being held, probably somewhere around Rafah. And I'm afraid for everyone's well-being, but I have to say that I was born on one side of the conflict. And after the 7th of October, I can't continue living in this constant fear that someone will enter my house with armed men and take me and my children.
The US is hoping to stall the Rafah operation with a 6-week ceasefire to help protect civilians and allow the release of more hostages. So far, Benjamin Netanyahu isn't buying.
We dropped thousands of flyers. We phoned Palestinians in their homes. We asked them to leave. We give them safe corridors and safe zones. So I think we're doing the right thing. And now, let me tell you one other thing. We're going to win this thing. Victory is within reach.
Back in Perth and with his family in extreme danger in Rafah, Ahmed Abu Marzouk is cynical about Benjamin Netanyahu's ambitions.
Gaza is destroyed, completely destroyed. Mosques, churches, heritage sites, houses. I don't see that's the objective of destroying Gaza and killing the civilians. Yes, he's making great success.